I've been shot at in countries that don't officially exist. But the only time I ever felt completely powerless was face down on the floor of my own airport, in my dress whites, with my blood soaking into the tile, and a police officer whispering in my ear, "You're nothing right now." He didn't know 7 cameras were recording. He didn't know his own body cam would change everything. But I did, and I stayed very still. My name is Senior Chief Marcus Ellison. 23 years in Naval Special Warfare. 6 deployments. 1 Purple Heart, 1 Bronze Star, and more classified memories than I'll ever explain. But that morning, I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was thinking about Washington. I was scheduled to receive a service commendation, the kind that requires dress whites and polished shoes. The kind your mother frames on the wall. My garment bag was over my shoulder. My orders were sealed. I had a connecting flight through Redwood International Airport. I expected coffee, boarding, silence. What I got was something else. I noticed him before he spoke. Stocky, mid-40s, watching me too closely. Sergeant Daniel Harlow, Airport Police. He stepped directly into my path. "Hold up, where'd you get that uniform?" His tone wasn't curious. It was accusatory. I kept my hands visible. Years of training, calm, posture. "I'm Senior Chief Marcus Ellison, United States Navy, traveling under official orders." He scanned my ribbons like they offended him. "You got ID for that?" "Yes, sir." "Side pocket? Don't reach." I didn't. His partner, Officer Tate Miller, moved to my right, blocking forward movement. 2 officers, 1 corridor. Fellow travelers slowed. Harlow leaned in. A lot of guys buy this stuff online. Fake medals, fake rank. I offered my military ID, my travel orders. He didn't take them. Instead, he said 3 words. "Put the bag down." I complied. Slowly, turned around. Hands behind my back. "I'm complying, Sergeant." "Am I being detained?" "Shut your mouth." He grabbed my wrist. Hard. Too hard. He rotated my shoulder upward past its natural range. Pain shot through my arm. "I am not resisting," I said clearly. Then he drove me into the floor, face first. The crack of bone against tile echoed. For a second, I tasted iron. My lips split open. Warm blood spread across white fabric. Knee landed between my shoulder blades. "I am not resisting," I repeated. I didn't move, didn't fight, didn't raise my voice, because I knew something he didn't. Airports have cameras, and officers wear body cams. Truth was recording. People started shouting. Someone screamed. A man said, "He's in uniform." Phones came out. I could hear them. 6 angles at least. A retired Marine colonel pushed forward. "That's his senior chief. You can see his rank from here." Harlow didn't look up. "I don't care who he is." Then he leaned close to my ear. "I don't care what you call yourself. You're nothing right now." That part, his body cam captured perfectly. They dragged me into a security room. Metal table. Overhead camera. Cuffed my wrist to a steel loop. No medic, no water, no explanation. Shh. My shoulder throbbed with every breath. Blood dried stiff against the collar of my uniform. I sat there for 2 hours and 14 minutes, still controlled breathing, the same breathing I used overseas. The difference, over there, I expected danger. Here, I expected dignity. At one point, outside the door, I heard Harlow say, "Another one playing dress-up." The ceiling mic caught that too. That's when I knew this wasn't about confusion, it was about assumption. The door finally opened. Not another officer. A civilian administrator. Airport Operations Director Linda Carver. She stopped when she saw me cuffed to that table, blood on white fabric. She turned to Harlow. Explain suspicious individual. Possible stolen valor. Non-compliant. She looked at me. "Is that accurate?" "No, ma'am." I identified myself. Offered credentials, complied fully. Requested medical attention. She held out her hand. "Give me his ID." He hesitated. She didn't now. "Sergeant." She verified everything in under 60 seconds. Active duty, official orders, flag officer signature. Her jaw tightened. "Uncuff him." Harlow didn't move. That was the moment his career ended. He just didn't know it yet. Within hours, my command was notified. By the next morning, federal investigators requested preservation of all footage. Not because of who I was, but because of what the footage showed. 7 angles. Clear audio, no resistance. Force applied anyway. What? And 2 hours of unnecessary detention afterward? When investigators reviewed prior complaints against Sergeant Harlow, they didn't find one bad day. They found a pattern. Similar stops. Similar language. Similar conclusions. All previously dismissed internally. That changed quickly. The trial lasted 12 days. On the first morning, prosecutors played the Bodycam footage. No dramatic narration. No commentary, just video. The courtroom watched me walk calmly through the terminal, watched him step into my path, watched my hands go behind my back, watched my face hit tile. When the holding room footage played 2 hours and 14 minutes of silence, you could feel the air change. I testified calmly, precisely. I did not resist. I complied fully. The defense argued my size was intimidating. 7 camera angles disagreed. The jury deliberated for hours. Guilty on all counts presented. Use of excessive force, unlawful detention, filing a false report. His partner was found guilty of failing to intervene. Accountability didn't happen because I was military. It happened because evidence existed. The department entered federal oversight. Force reviews changed. Complaint processes changed. Supervisors resigned. Some were disciplined. Civil litigation followed. The city reached a settlement before trial. Part of it funded a scholarship for students pursuing ethical criminal justice careers. I didn't ask for revenge. I asked for correction. Weeks later, I walked through another airport. Same dress whites. Same posture. No one stopped me. Not because they recognized me, but because systems had adjusted. Sergeant Harlow no longer wears a badge. Officer Miller no longer patrols terminals. And every new recruit at Redwood Airport now sees a training slide with a single still frame. My face on the tile, blood on white fabric. Underneath it, one sentence. This is what happens when authority forgets accountability. I've operated in war zones, but that day taught me something deeper. Power doesn't reveal character. It exposes it, and silence protects the wrong people. I didn't fight back on that floor. I didn't need to, because truth was recording. And truth, when preserved, doesn't blink.